Everyone, welcome back. Episode 10. Especially welcome to our new listeners at iHeartRadio. My name is Jake. His name is Paul, and we're here to discuss a lot of bullshit relating to sports today. Paul, how you doing, man?
We're doing well. We are doing well, and big shout out to iHeartRadio picking us up.
Thank you. Big move. Pardon my background today. My house looks like absolute shit. But you want to know what? I thought all day yesterday was Monday, so I treated yesterday like it was Monday. And then I woke up today like, what in holy hell is happening? And it turns out today's Monday, so it's...
Yes.
I drove to the club last night, and I walk in, and I'm like, like the stage isn't set up, nothing's right. Like, what's going on? And I'm like, there's comedy tonight, right? They're like, I think that's tomorrow. I'm like, oh, they moved it to Tuesday. They didn't tell me. Like, I didn't know. And he's like, dude, it's Sunday today. I was like, oh shit.
You comedians
like
and your sense of time.
A whole day going thinking it was the wrong day until like 8:30 p.m. Oh my god. Yeah, dude, yesterday was Selection Sunday. Bracketology coming out on all channels near you. What do you think, dude?
Alright, so yeah, we're going to start off with the college hoops side of things. And I feel like this is kind of, oh man, you know that scene in Inglourious Bastards where there's that one guy that knows 5 words of Italian,
yeah.
And then the other person knows like 1 word of Italian?
Yep.
That's us right now.
In the white coat, and it was at the end.
Oh yeah,
just trying to get by.
That's us. We know nothing about college hoops.
Not
but
a
we're
whole
gonna
lot.
act like it.
Not a whole lot. Listen, here's the deal. I follow college hoops once per year, and it's in March. That's when I follow college hoops. And for about a week beforehand, I just look at how everyone did for the year, and then I make my bracket based on that. Because, like, honestly, I'm sorry. It's just, it's too many. I don't have all the channels. It's just not in the stars. It's just not.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is definitely a sports radio type talk here. We're not going to get into big depth right now, but what I can tell you right now is it's going to be Iowa and Illinois in the final.
And what I can tell you is that it's not going to be Iowa and Illinois in the final. It's just not.
Yeah, but we were talking before air about how it's Duke, and it's like, if you're going to tell me Duke is going to make it to the Elite Eight or not.
No, I'm not. I'm saying Duke can't make it past the Sweet 16 to save their fucking lives, dude. They lost in they lost so quickly. So quickly. Every year they lose so quickly. And then every couple of years they make it to the end with UNC, and it's a UNC Duke Classic, and everyone's like, I told you Duke was good. And it's like, where have they been for 10 fucking years? Get the hell out of here with your mouth.
Well, I can tell you in my bracket right now, UNC gets bounced by Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin takes them out.
I think Wisconsin takes them out too, man. Those fucking Badgers. Because, okay, we're both from Wisconsin, so you do see that type of update every once. They're fucking killing it, man. They're killing it. Wisconsin is killing it.
Wisconsin has this hilarious stat right now going where the average age of their team is 22 years old, and the average age of the Chicago Bulls is 21 and a half.
Yep.
So their starting lineup is older than the Chicago Bulls, which is absurd. Like, you've got guys that are like 50-year seniors who are just never going to see the league, but they just keep seeing the NCAA bracket.
Hey, man.
So,
I would.
Yeah,
I'm never going to the show, and I can stick around here and make a name for myself in college. Let's go.
Yeah.
I have friends from UND who, they knew they weren't going to the NHL. But, I mean, one of them was the captain of the damn team, and he didn't make it to the NHL. And I think he kind of knew it, but, like, dude, his 4 years at UND were spectacular. He lived the fucking shit out of those 4 years. Like, that's the thing. Even if you're not going to make it to the show, man, stick around. Have some fun in college, dude. It's good times. It's good times to be in college sports. It really is.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you got to pay those bills, baby, but otherwise, most of you guys don't. Like, you know, most Division I athletes aren't coming from broken homes these days. They just aren't. They just aren't, unfortunately. I mean, is that bad to say that? But they aren't. They're coming from really wealthy families with paying for high-performance training at a young age. Like, that's where they're coming from. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. And, well, the other thing that we really have to consider is this has been a weird season. It's going to be a weird tournament. So, I mean, obviously we're out here and we're picking like number 1 seeds and number 2 seeds to go forward, and that's kind of how all these, Final Fours go. But man, this could be the year where the game plan is chuck threes, get hot early, win big.
Maybe, dude. I don't know. That doesn't seem right. Maybe.
Well, the thing people really forget about this NCAA tournament is it's one game. It's not a series.
Right. It's not a...
So sometimes you put up 33-pointers, you make 20, and the game is over.
Yeah, you're right.
So that's what I mean, is chuck threes, get hot early, win big. And there are teams that do that in this, there are a lot of teams that do that. So you might not be able to, pick a good defensive team.
I can just hear my coaches from all the way through my childhood, all the way up going, if you're shooting threes when you could make the 2, I don't want you to shoot that 3. I can hear that right now in the back of my head, Yeah,
well, that's why they're coaching JV. Like that.
Hey, that means that you're assuming I only made it to JV, you dick. That was really fucked up passive-aggressive language there. Oh, wow.
But yeah, man. It's like there are teams that you're like Illinois, for example, the team I'm gonna pick to win this year. I'm picking Illinois to win this year.
Wrong.
Correct. Plus 650, by the way, hit the line. Hold the line, dude. Diamond hands. We're venture capitalists now in Illinois. But
well, it's because you work there, so you're just going for the hometown team now.
No, I wish I wasn't. But that's the problem. Is that team has no holes.
They're good. They're fucking good, but I don't think that they're gonna fucking make it to. I don't think they're gonna win it, dude. Honestly,
are you gonna tell me that the Big Ten isn't the best conference in college sports?
In college sports?
You're not gonna tell me the Big Ten right now?
I mean, I think the Big Ten is, but that is not at all what the general consensus of the sports world is.
Well, why are we here?
I believe that it's the best because, okay, we have to think about, this is the NCAA bracket in the entirety. You think the guys making this aren't also thinking about dollars when they're putting these fucking brackets together?
Oh, yeah.
Also a business. Of course, because we think that the Big Ten is the best doesn't mean that they think it is, and that's not how they're going to set it up.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's going to be some SEC blowhards.
There's going to be SEC
there are going to be some, Baylor or whatever.
That's what I'm saying.
But no.
Baylor in the South, dude. You've got Baylor, Ohio State. Jesus Christ. First of all, why is Ohio State in the South? What the hell?
Because they're going to lose in the Final Four.
But that's what I'm saying. They're in the South. That's a Midwestern team. Get the fuck out of here. West Virginia is in the Midwest, but Ohio State's in the South. Get your fucking ass out of here. That's what I'm saying when I'm talking about the Big Ten, talking like how we think it's the best. Yeah, but they should all be in the Midwestern bracket, and they've got them split up to beat up SEC teams and Big 12 and Pac teams and shit. It's never going to happen. The NCAA doesn't like the Big Ten. That's why there's 12 teams in it, and the Big 12 has 10 teams in it. It makes no fucking sense. It makes no sense. This bracket does not make sense. It's set up to make money. And so, we can talk all day about, divisions and all this other shit. It doesn't matter. The way this is set up, it has East has Michigan in it. Michigan is not Eastern at all. Michigan is by the fucking Great Lakes, right? It's dead center of the United States. Mm-hmm. What more Midwest do you want? You got them in the East like they're
getting
New York.
Some real charity.
But you got them with BYU. What the fuck are you talking about, man?
Yeah, right. I would say Michigan's getting some serious charity right now in the powered rankings. But that's how I see it. Right now, Iowa's got the best player in the entire league going for them right now. I think that you can probably put it through. But, man, I think everyone has this big flaw when they think about the final, about this tournament in general. It's just one game. You have to put away one game. And, St. Bonaventure, some wild card team, even a play-in team, could end up doing well.
I mean, UCLA. In the past, UCLA has always been in, this wild card spot. And then somehow they're in, the Final Four every once in a while. What the hell? So, that's what I'm saying. BYU versus MSU UCLA. Is that what it is? That's so small. Yeah, it is. Okay, so let's say UCLA
Yeah.
beats MSU, and then you've got BYU versus UCLA, and then let's say UCLA pulls it off, and then you've got Texas versus that, because Texas isn't going to lose. They're just not. So
Yeah,
Texas goes
right. They're
through.
just playing
So then you've
for
got
the.
UCLA versus Texas, and like at the end of the day, after UCLA, let's say they beat MSU and BYU, and then they're up against Texas. Would you put UCLA to beat Texas? Because I would. At that point, I would. And
I feel like you missed out on Abilene Christian.
No, I did not miss out on Abilene Christian. I did not. They're losing to
Dude,
Texas in the first.
if there's a sleeper pick in this entire bracket, it's Abilene.
They're losing to Texas in the first round.
They very well should. However, Abilene Christian has a monstrous defense. Like, if you look at their box score, they are forcing an absurd amount of turnovers per game. I think the last I saw was like 19 turnovers a game. Like, that is a maddening amount of points. And if you can force Texas to do that, you can force any team to do that. That's a big jump. But yeah, I mean, they should lose to Texas, but man, Abilene Christian is the sleeper. And then if Abilene Christian goes for BYU, that's a battle of the religions.
I'll tell you what, if they win, I'll let you pick my haircut. All right?
Oh man.
If they win, I'll let you pick my haircut.
Mullet for sure.
But if they lose, I get to pick your haircut.
What do you want me to do with this Air Force cut, bud?
I would make you shave it bald.
Oh!
It would be down to make it look like you would belong in the skinhead clan. You would be the most McGregor with no facial hair looking ass dude out there.
Oh my gosh, and you're going to make me put that on a 14th seed.
Yep.
I'm not at all confident in that. I'm going to politely defer.
Okay, all right.
But no,
that's how confident I am that Texas is going to win that.
Yes, I mean Texas is going to win, but man, that's a game. That's when I was looking at the upsets, because everyone knows there's a 12-5 upset somewhere.
Yeah, always. There's a 16-1 upset every year, every once in a while, man. Like once a year. Like remember Duke? Remember Duke when they lost to like Wake Forest, number 16 in 2015, 16, whatever the fuck that was? Like immediately went down. Like what the hell?
Yeah, exactly. But it's yeah, man. We'll see. But do you want to, do you have a Final Four? Do you have a
No, I haven't picked my Final Four yet. I haven't. But we're gonna start recording this more often, so I'm sure I'll have that out pretty. I'll have it done by the next episode.
All right, so then let's first then apologize to the fans who listened to last week's podcast.
Definitely.
Because we cut them off.
We did.
We decided that we were going to watch the Edwards-Bilal Muhammad fight.
Yeah.
Which ended in an eye poke.
Which ended in a motherfucking eye poke.
We should have kept going. We should have recorded all night.
Just kept going. We should have just kept talking throughout the fight. We really should have. We really should have. We fucked that up big.
Yeah, man. Especially because I'm watching this thing live.
Well,
not only my dyslexic ass was saying that it was a 12-second knockout. It was a 21-second knockout by Ige last week.
That picture that you sent me of that dude being knuckle deep in a motherfucker's eye socket from like whenever that. I want to be more specific than just. I feel like I'm talking to you on the phone right now with the way I just described the image that you sent me. The picture that you sent me of the guy with the knuckle in the hand and the finger. That was the dumbest.
Yeah, so that was a picture of Travis Brown and Fabricio Werdum, with Travis Brown knuckle deep into Fabricio's eye. But yeah, man, there's Fabricio right there taking it.
Holy dude, he's knuckle deep. Did he lose his eyeball after that?
No, Fabricio styled on him twice.
But
twice, Fabricio. And you could...
It's all the way down to here! In his eye!
Yeah, it's awful. But what's crazy about the Edwards-Bilal eye poke is Bilal's eye started bleeding almost immediately. And you rarely see that. Usually you see like the swelling and the bruising and stuff. Yeah. But man, rarely do you see the blood, and it was gushing. That was a bad one. And the question becomes, what do you do, right? Like, do you do the automatic rematch? Because you got a guy...
An eye poke, how common are eye... Like, those aren't that common. Because, like, how does that happen? You just, loosen up your fingers going for a punch? Or, like, what... Going for a grab or something, or how do you...
You frame. So a lot of times when you go to throw a kick, you put your hand out flat and you frame against the shoulder or the top of the head or something like that, as opposed to putting your fist out. Or you're going to grab. So like you grab a wrist, you grab a shoulder, like you go throw a kick, they're too close and you try to grab them. But that's typically where it comes from.
Just because you're going so quick and then just things happen.
Yeah, or like I wouldn't be surprised if Edwards like tried to literally palm his head and then throw a head kick. But
I get you.
The problem is like, what do you do with Edwards, because he's top 5 in the world and Bilal is top 15 in the world.
Well, they're gonna rematch.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? I think
no.
I think Bilal wants a rematch.
Well, that doesn't matter.
Why?
Because he's in top 15 and Edwards is top 5.
Yeah.
And the schedule's got to keep going. You know, the train keeps going.
But why can't they rematch like in a year?
Oh, they could rematch in a year. I mean. They could
it doesn't have to be
down the line, but no immediate.
It's not going to be next week. No. But I still think they want that fight again, because that was like, because who actually won that? Who won that? Like, let's be honest. Who knows?
Nobody knows. It was too early.
That's what I'm saying.
I would say Edwards looked like he was a little faster. Leon looked like he was in shape. Leon looks like he hasn't missed a step. So I would like to see Leon maybe fight a guy like, Jorge looks like he's lined up for the title, but Colby, Leon versus Colby, or Leon versus Wonderboy, those are 2 excellent fights.
Dude, my beard looks so ginger in this fucking camera. See that? Guys, I'm not even a ginger. Look at this. I'm not even... Guys! Oh, God. I'm so sorry, but, like, I thought I had I'm going to go on the limb and say that I do still have my soul, but, like, this is starting to really creep me out. Maybe that's why I'm a comedian. Like, I only have half a soul.
Are you admitting to the world right now that this is the first time you've looked in the mirror today?
In the mirror? Wait, does it always look orange like that? I mean, people make fun of me for being ginger, but I always thought it was just, like, kind of a... No, it's probably just because of the fucking face shit I put on, and it bleaches it out a little. Honestly, is probably what it comes down to.
Okay.
Or I'll just shave. Just get rid of it so no one can talk to me anymore.
But,
anyway, to
get back on track
we should talk about Marvelous real quick. We were just talking about him before the show.
Oh man.
Because that happened right after we finished the last podcast. Like, right after.
I went on social media and saw immediately, and man, what is there to say about Marvelous?
He was a pioneer in the fucking sport. That's
not only a pioneer, but a hero. He was a guy who did nothing wrong.
No.
He never got in trouble.
He was never
dogged the system.
I loved him.
And,
you gotta love him. You have to love him.
Well, and there's that story where his temporalis muscle, so the muscle that goes from your eyebrow to behind your ear, was thicker, like 20% thicker, so it was like he was built with a football helmet on.
What a champion.
But he would switch stances from left to right. He did it to Hitman Hearns, and that is probably the greatest fight. If you want to sit down for a good 5 minutes.
I watched some highlights when you sent me the text of it, and you said this is the greatest fight he's been in, and I was like, let me check it out quick before we go online. It was a hell of a fight. Man, can you imagine being at one of those boxing matches back in the day? Can you imagine, like, not today's Floyd Mayweather type boxing matches, but like back in the day, a fucking in the ring, people are getting dirty as a motherfucker boxing match. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I feel like a lot of that is like, because currently in the, 2021, everyone's undefeated. Everyone's got these insane records. But back in the day, when you were in when the 4 horsemen of that division were running the game, and, the Hitman Hearns, that his knockout, he's got a 1-1-2 over the top that I forget who he did it over, but that's probably the scariest knockout I've ever seen in boxing.
First of all,
Hearns was murking dudes.
Well, it's just weird seeing an overhand like that in boxing in the first place, where you can just pummel a motherfucker. Just lights out. Good night. It was weird. You don't see that very often anymore.
Well, I remember thinking Aldo versus McGregor, right? When those two guys were on a collision course, I remember thinking it was Hagler-Hearns all over again. Where Aldo was Hagler and McGregor was Hearns. And you had this long, rangy guy who was just starching dudes out of nowhere, and he flew up the rankings. That was Hearns. And Hagler was the guy that you couldn't disrespect. And I remember, I knew history. I knew Hagler was going to be too tough. Hearns broke both his hands in the first round, and he couldn't fire back against Hagler, and Hagler just whittled him down. I remember thinking Aldo was going to Hagler him, and then he gets knocked out in 13 seconds.
Well, first of all, just so everyone knows, who we're talking about is Marvin, or Marvelous Hagler. He was a boxer. He passed away shortly after our last recording, and he was like, if you go back in the day and put yourself in the shoes of the fucking civil rights era when this motherfucker was, good Lord Almighty, think about everything he had to go up against, let alone they wouldn't even, like you were telling me, I didn't know, he legally changed his name to Marvelous because no one would use his nickname, but everyone else got to use their nickname. Difference is this guy was fucking black. That's literally the only difference. So he changed his legal name to Marvelous so that NBC had to say it. And that's pretty pathetic that you had to legally change your name to get them to say your nickname. Especially if you're fucking Marvin Hagler. Imagine
we're also talking about a time when Muhammad Ali went to jail for 3 years for dodging the draft. You look across all of professional sports, and where were all those draft dodgers?
Yeah.
And just still on the gridiron, on the field.
Let's talk. Well, not only that, let's talk about like movie actors. Who's one of the greatest actors in history for boxing? Rocky Balboa. Greatest Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, Sylvester.
Right? Draft dodger. Never went to jail, so nobody knows. But now he's in history as one of the greatest boxing movie legends of all time. The motherfucker did the same thing that a real boxer did, drafted, and he didn't go to jail for it. And now he's in history as Rocky. You know what I mean? Like...
That entire decade of boxing it's tough to look back on because you see these people and they were robbed of the best years of their life.
Dude, think of the fucking perseverance of these when we're going through our training camps back in the day, and we didn't have shit of an idea compared to, because they had to do the same things we were doing and get called all sorts of names and get shit drinking water. Like, they had the warm drinking fountain instead of the cold water. They had the old uniforms that smelled like vomit. They didn't get the new ones. They always had to practice in the old gym, never the field house. They always had an extra step. And, I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but, I don't think people truly understand. When Hagler died, a legend died with him. And, legends never die, I guess. But you know what I mean? It's a fucking loss to the sports world. And I really don't see anyone else talking about it. So I kind of wanted to blow it up a little more.
Yeah. And the other thing that's really sad about Hagler is at the end of his career, Sugar Ray Leonard came out of retirement and kind of waxed him. And
Sugar Ray Leonard was on roids for that fight.
Well, believe what you want about Sugar, but a lot of people believe that Sugar Ray is the greatest boxer in history of all time, based on his record, based on the people he beat. He lost to Duran and then came out and no-mossed him. The whole no-moss thing, where he just went out there and styled on him. And he kind of did the same thing to Hagler, but that was Hagler after a fight. I forget which fight it was. It was Hagler at the end of his career, and Sugar Ray had retired, come out of retirement, and, Sugar Ray's doing the spinning body shots and just whipping them. And a lot of people see Sugar Ray, in that form, and they really miss out on how special Hagler was. That Hagler-Hearns fight, that is heroism. Those two guys went out and banged, and that was a 15-round fight.
Yes,
it ended in the second.
A long fight. Think about going 15 fucking rounds.
Oh, it's criminal. It's criminal what they used to do to those people.
15.
It's criminal.
That's like watching a whole movie, and by the time you're done, those dudes are still fighting each other. Oh my god.
It's so crazy.
It's unbelievable. It's unreal. It really is.
Yeah.
And it's testimony for the time, and it's testimony for the character of the guy under the man. It really is this. It's a loss to the sports world, and I hope that everyone who's hearing this looks the dude up so that they can appreciate him too.
Rest in power, Marvelous.
Motherfucking right. Seriously. All right, dude. We'll get back to
let's get back to the fights.
All right.
So I guess the biggest thing about the fights were the two lightning quick knockouts from Ige, and then the guy on the first night of the first fight of the card. And I think we finally found the solution to the calf kick. It's a straight right hand down the middle. It's a straight right hand early. If you're gonna throw that lazy kick early, you're getting bricked, son.
It's a jab to the center, and it worked like a fucking
charm, bricked.
Dude. It worked like a charm. Dude stiffened up and right on his back. Like, good night, brother. Good
Both those guys out cold.
Good. I mean, it's... Sorry for the head trauma, but it's good. I like saying it. It's good to see, man. That's a good fight. It's a good fight, man.
That's what's weird about the cards like last week. You look at the card last week and you're like, is there any star power? Are there any name value here? And there's really not. And then a guy like Davey Grant lands a 4-piece combination for a knockout. And you're like, who is Davey Grant?
Well, you're going to know today, you know?
Who is this guy?
It was a good combo.
Yeah, so
he had multiple
crazy.
combos. He didn't even land. He had multiple combos that night. Multiple.
Yeah. I mean, going forward, there's not a whole lot to take from this card. I guess the only thing to take from this is the referees. The referees have to take a good, hard look at the Jan knee from last week.
For real.
And the Anders knee from this week and decide just how is one of them intentional and the other isn't.
Well, they're going to need to decide, too, like, not only why is one intentional and why is the other one not, but what are we going to fucking do about this? This is 2 weeks in a row, and, like, as a fan and as fans, the fans notice it. Just because the ref says it didn't happen doesn't mean we don't see it happening. You know, like, they're going to need to figure out what to do about this. I don't know if it's a memo.
Like, are you gonna tell me that Eric Anders didn't mean to knock that dude out?
For real.
Like, Jan meant to knock him out, too. The only difference was you could make the case that Anders couldn't tell if his knee was down based on his position versus Jan standing in the middle of the cage.
His knee was... It's as a fighter... You've been in the motherfucking octagon for how many years of your life? You don't know? You don't know? That's like when NFL players say, I didn't see him out of bounds and that's why I hit him so late. Shut the fuck up. You are a professional. Shut up. If you would, okay, let's go to the printing press and we'll just start misspelling all these words and say, oh, we didn't know, we didn't see. You're a professional. Catch it. You have to. That's your job. That's why you're paid so handsomely. Do it right.
Yeah, so I guess there's really not much to take from this card. However, next week's card, there is a lot to choose from. It is very exciting.
And it's here in Vegas,
Yeah, I mean, so next week, I think the first podcast we ever did, we were picking Macy Chiasson over Marion Renault. And that fight has gotten canceled due to COVID, and it's starting on the prelims. I think it's headlining the prelims of this weekend, and we're still picking Macy. She's going to be a big favorite, but, I mean, you've got a girl in her late 20s, excellent grappler, excellent ground and pound. She's taken on a 41-year-old. You know, sometimes you just bet on favorites, and that's who Macy is this week.
Okay, well, do you have a parlay set up for the week? Did you make a parlay?
I do.
Yeah?
I do. It's Chiasson, Tuivasa, and Holland, and that is plus money.
I might just copy your parlay this week, honestly. I might just do what you're doing.
Yeah, well, the big thing, so I touched on Tuivasa over Dontel Mays. Dontel Mays, he's a specimen. He's very big. He's got the largest traps you've ever seen. He's like a very, very strong man. But Tai Tuivasa is very seasoned. He's got a good low kick. He's got a good jab. He's lost fights. He's been exposed. But those are against guys who are surprisingly at the top of the division. Like, who would have thought Sergey Spivak would be top 10? You know, and Tuivasa took an arm triangle from him. But I like Tuivasa in this spot. He's minus 250 as of right now. But it's kind of where he should be. But at the top of the card, I'm super confident in Kevin Holland. I think Kevin Holland wipes the floor with Brunson, and it won't even be close.
Well, first of all, for Kevin Holland is negative 175, and Brunson is plus 145. Over under 2.5 rounds. So first of all, over under. What do you think? We're going under.
We like the under.
I like the
on the nature of Brunson alone.
Yeah.
Brunson has never been a 3-round fighter.
For the record, the over under is both over and under at minus 115.
Yeah, Vegas doesn't know what to do.
Like they don't know what to do about that fight.
Yeah, so then you pick and it's at 2.5 rounds.
2.5 rounds. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you pick the under and root for both guys.
Yeah. For real. Yeah, for real.
Pick the under, root for both teams.
That's a really good idea. Hey, I like it.
Yeah, I favor Holland. I think he's the far better striker. He's got a really straight right hand. He's got a really good sense of grappling, and I think Brunson has a wrestling pedigree on his own, but it's very rudimentary. He does like really hectic double legs.
Yeah.
And I like Holland's understanding of the grappling. We saw him just have a spectacular knockout of Jacare from his back. But I mean, are we going to forget that this guy is like a Travis Lutter black belt? Like this guy knows grappling. He's got the leg locks.
Well. How many degrees black belt is he? He's pretty far up there. Let me take a look.
Well, he's so funny. Kevin Holland's got like a kung fu background or like a Wing Chun background. Like he's got all these goofy Eastern martial arts that aren't really applicable to modern MMA. But he walks around with pride. And I mean, in his last post-fight interview, he was talking about the pressure points of the head. Like those are real things.
I'm trying to find his belts here, but it's hard to find those on like even on Wikipedia. All I'm finding is just his records and shit. So I don't know, but I'm assuming it's pretty fucking good because he's a grappler, man. He's a fucking grappler.
Well, the other thing is Brunson is the perennial gatekeeper. Brunson is a guy, if you beat him, you're probably getting a title shot, just like Robert Whittaker, just like Yoel. Yoel knocked him out a long time ago. Adesanya knocked him out on pay-per-view. So if you can get past Brunson, you're definitely headed for superstardom, and that's kind of what this main event is all about. But I mean, Brunson's no joke. I mean, I remember him breaking everyone's heart with Lyoto Machida. We knocked out Lyoto.
Yeah.
You could not find a UFC fan that didn't shed a tear that night. Like, everyone was so depressed when Brunson won that.
Depressed.
Well, it's like you had this thought of Lyoto, like, Lyoto beat Ryan Bader.
Yeah,
Ryan Bader is double the wrestler of Derek Brunson, and then Brunson just runs through him in a minute.
But when you start doing like that's that thinking that happens even in like the NHL or like in the NFL or something, when you're like, well, the Saints beat the Lions and the Lions beat them, so we'll be able to beat them, and it's like that's not at all how the sports world works, man. It's each game is different. Each fight is a new fight. You know, it's tough to. I mean, you've seen really good teams lose to really shitty teams, and then you've seen like the same really good team play a better team and win. Like, what the hell? You know, like sports are weird, and you'll never be able to perfectly predict what's going to happen next. Like
that's what I mean about the tournament. Chuck threes, get hot, win big. That is the goal.
Are you gonna
go? The dream.
Are you gonna go,
Chuck
coach?
Threes.
You gonna go to Illinois and be like, you guys need an assistant? I got this shit. You guys, who's this fucking? Get him out of here. Give me this. I'll wear the polo. Polo.
What are we doing tonight? We're chucking threes,
boys. What is the plan? Pass it to the Italians. No.
Yeah.
Well, what movie is that from? Shit, I can't remember.
That's Kicking and Screaming.
Kicking and Screaming. Yeah, with Will Ferrell. Pass it to the Italians. Oh, good shit. Yeah.
But the people's main event is Gregor Gillespie versus Brad Riddell.
Yeah, I was actually just gonna bring him up. Yep.
So that's a really interesting fight for the hardcores. So Gregor Gillespie, all-American wrestler. The guy is the quote-unquote greatest fly fisherman in the UFC. Nobody will dispute that.
No one. I don't think anyone else tried to take it. I think
no one will dispute that. But Gregor, man, his wrestling, dude, it's like wrestling. It's like fighting a wet blanket.
Yeah.
Like if you could put your comforter in the washer and then have a wrestling match with it after it comes out of the washer, that's about as well as it would go.
Man, well, First of all, this fight is both. It's at a 2.5 again, and they're both at a -115 again. So Vegas again doesn't know what to do with the fight. So is this another fight where are you going to bet? Because Gillespie is at a -230, and Brad's at a +190. So I would do personally. I'm doing the under 2.5 again on this. Because I don't know who's going to win this one.
I think that's a good pick as well. But the big thing is Brad Riddell's getting the rub from Australia. So he's in the Adesanya camp, the City Kickboxing Academy, and they have Alexander Volkanovski fighting in the 27th in a title fight. So they're going to look at Adesanya, they're going to look at Volkanovski, they're going to look at the entire camp, and they're going to give him the rub.
What do you mean by that? They're going to give him the rub? What do you mean?
They're just going to respect it.
Okay, I get you. Okay. I didn't know what you meant by that. What is he talking about?
Yeah, they're gonna look around the camp and they're gonna say, okay, all these guys are fighting, and Adesanya lost, but he had a good showing, and you've got Volkanovski, he's a perennial winner, so it's looking good that all these guys are fighting at the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
But when it comes to styles, if Gregor can grab this dude, he's gonna ride him like Small Pony. Like it's gonna be yeehaw all over that ring. Like it could be a really rough night. Yeah. And when Gregor is on, like everyone keeps looking at that Kevin Lee head kick knockout, and they're like, "Oh, he got head kicked, and he was snoring against the mat." And it's like, okay, well, look at the other 4 guys he mauled. Like, are those guys not snoring? Like, those guys are still snoring. Like, so for him to come out, this is a good fight. It's in a good spot. And by the way, where's Kevin Lee? Where is he? He beat Gregor Gillespie, and then he goes out and gets mauled by Charles Oliveira and has never come back.
I think he's... one of 2 things happened. One, he is literally so embarrassed to come back that you won't see him ever again. Or 2, he's underground training like a bitch, and he's going to get back here and he's going to win his next fight.
It's a combination of the 2, where Kevin Lee is in Canada training with Firas Zahabi, but also nursing a knee injury. But he has phantom knees.
How did you know that? I couldn't find anything like that on him.
Because Kevin Lee has phantom knees. He always has a knee injury. Okay. And you'll hear an interview with him, and he'll be like, "Oh, yep, my knee's acting up."
Really?
Yep.
What is it? Did he tear his ACL a couple times, or what is it that's bothering him in his knee?
He cuts way too much weight.
Okay. Gotcha.
I think that's the issue, where he's like naturally a 170-pounder, but he's only 5'9".
Goes down to like fucking 130 or whatever, 135.
Well, yeah. Well, he tries to cut to 55, and it just doesn't go well for him. And do
you think?
But the last time it did go well for him, and he head kicked our boy.
Shouldn't he just stay at like 65 then?
It's not a weight class.
They used to be a weight class.
It's never been a weight class in the UFC.
Maybe I'm just retarded then, thinking of the wrong word. Oh, you said the R word. You can't say that. Sorry.
But yeah, so
sorry, everyone.
There's been a lot of talks about the 10-pound weight class. Nate Diaz wants the 65-pound weight class. Dustin Poirier wants the 65-pound weight class. I thought for the longest time the golden matchup that they never made was Conor versus George at 165, and for the first ever champ fight.
That would be dope. Triple champ.
It could have been, but they missed out on it.
Well, it's not like it can't happen ever again. Well,
pretty much. Pretty much.
One second. What I'm trying to figure out here, does boxing have a 165? I think boxing has a 165.
Boxing has weight classes every 5 pounds.
Okay, because I'm trying to think, like, I've definitely seen 165 on my TV before. Like, I'm trying to figure out what the hell I saw. It must have been a boxing match then.
No, 100%.
My bad, everyone.
But, yeah, the UFC hates catchweight fights. But, yeah, so that's the thing. But there would be a lot of fun matchups at catchweight. There would be like Colby Covington. Like,
yes,
if Colby Covington couldn't cut an extra 5 pounds to 65 and be the undisputed 65-pound champ.
I think a 165 would be fun, dude. In the UFC.
Oh, it'd be so fun.
I think it'd be fun. Are they just doing it just to keep face of like what they've got going on in the UFC? Like they want to keep the tradition of their weight classes, or what is their reason for not allowing? Like, because the internet is filled with people wanting 165. I'm looking at the Google page right now. Like, shitloads of people want it. So what's the deal?
Well, one of its tradition and principle, which is if you look at a lot of other weight classes, like look at men's flyweight right now.
Yeah.
Like that used to be one of the hottest divisions ever when Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson was just racking up
Remember
wins
back in
left and right.
early high school days? Yeah. Dude.
But now what? They've got 4 guys.
At most. Four guys with a name. Yeah.
So every division has an ebb and flow, and that's the thing. Is 55 to 170. There are a ton of contenders, but if you really look at the top 5 of each division, do you really want to try to expand that across 3 divisions? Because what would happen is you would have a 55, a 65, a 75, and then you would keep middleweight at 85.
I guess. What's so bad about that, though?
Because then you're getting into the Kevin Holland territory. Like, Kevin Holland is fought at 170. What if he goes to 175?
Well,
and then you've got Brunson sitting in the top 5 of 185. And why is Brunson in the top 5?
Yeah, you start getting into some weird. But then I feel like after it would be weird for a while, but wouldn't that eventually lay itself out over some time?
Yeah, with the right promotional power, they can definitely do it.
The UFC has the ability to do what they need to do. I mean, they've created absolute bricks of human beings out of nothing before. You know, like they've really promoted weight. So I feel like if they chose to do it, very possible. I just don't think they want to do it.
Yeah, so that's the big thing, is they could do it if they really wanted to, and they could probably put some, like, crazy headliner together. Like, oh my gosh, like, for example, if they had, like, Jorge Masvidal beat Usman,
right.
Like, imagine Jorge versus Poirier, or Jorge versus Conor, if Conor were to beat Poirier, and they give him the belt, and then you have a Conor versus the BMF champ. Like, it's all fun, and we can go on Reddit forums and we can talk about how much fun this would be. But if you really look at the top 10 of each division, do you really want to turn the guys in 6 to 10 into the 1 through 5? Like, do you really want to do that?
Not really.
Do you really want to make Michael Chiesa?
No,
like,
because then you've got too many heroes. You've got too many heroes in the game. Then you can't have, and not everyone can be the damn hero, man.
Yeah, that's
so I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
We've been talking about Usman, right, for like 2 podcasts, right, about how Usman's the truth and he's this and that, and you look at all of the guys in the top 5, and you just can't wait for those matchups.
Right.
But it's like, do you really want Usman versus Bilal Muhammad?
Not really.
Because that's what would happen.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I guess
Dana White is right.
Dana White definitely looked a little deeper into it than I did on this podcast. Turns out the guy in charge of the whole fucking party is looking into it a little further than me. Oh, man. This chair is so uncomfortable. Do you hear this God damn, dude. This thing is older than the hills. You get a recliner for my computer. Anyway, sorry about that. No, okay. So
so that covers
pretty much is
this
all
upcoming fight card for sure.
Yeah. We'll get into the 27th fight cards next time.
And do you know who we're picking?
We can't talk about it yet. Yeah, I can see who's on it, but
yeah, we can.
Why would you want to talk about it right now?
Because I can't help myself.
Fine.
Oh. We're picking Ortega.
I say, you're going with the fucking Volkanovski Ortega pick, and you're going to go with Ortega, because he's at a plus 140, he's at an over 4.5, and I would go with Ortega too. Brian Ortega, I would definitely go with him too at the plus 140. You put in a little bit of cash to make yourself a lot of bit of cash, why not?
Well, I think it's a style thing. Where Volkanovski's, he's really strong. Like, the guy's built like a fire hydrant. But the problem is it's a style thing with Holloway, where a lot of people see Volkanovski and Holloway go to war twice. But the thing with Holloway is Holloway brings you into boxing matches, and Ortega fell into that trap. But Ortega's not going to fall into that trap a second time, and he proved it against Korean Zombie.
Do you think this is going fucking more than 4.5 rounds? I
think it's possible.
I don't think it's going past 4.5. 4.5?
It's possible this thing goes to a decision.
I'm going to the end of the
Volkanovski's
third.
built like a tank. Ortega hasn't been finished.
I don't know, man. I think Ortega's got him. I think Ortega can get him on the ground and fucking start wailing until it's over.
Oh, yeah. Well, not only that, but Ortega's very good against these short, stocky guys. He has knee KOs. Like, you need Clay Guida off his face. Like, literally, his chin off of his face.
Yeah.
And Ortega, he's got a really good front guillotine series. He's got incredible elbows. And if he has the height advantage, he almost performs above and beyond expectations. And I was a Ortega hater. I was watching Max Holloway grab his wrist and says, okay, so this is how you block your head. All right, very good. Thank you. And if you haven't seen that GIF, it's spectacular. Max literally teaching him how to box mid-fight. But
oh my God.
Ortega had turned it around against Korean Zombie, just bricked him up with a...
That fight that you're talking about was from like 2016 or 17 or some shit, dude.
Oh, the Holloway-Ortega fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was from 3 years ago.
That was like 3-4 years ago now.
Oh, yeah, and Ortega's only fought, once since then? He fought against Korean Zombie and spanked him?
And, no, he's fought twice. Hold on. Hasn't he fought twice?
I know he's got the Korean Zombie fight, and he also, let's see here. Nope, fought once, UFC 231, which was his doctor stoppage loss at the end of the 4th in 2018.
Yep, you're right.
And that's what I mean by he hasn't been stopped. Well, he got stopped by the doctor. That's not a real stoppage.
Well, so he's got fucking... Well, I mean, his last fight wasn't that long ago, but it was like December 9th, in 2017, then March 3rd, 2018, then December 8th, 2018, and then he fucking takes his L to Holloway, and then he takes like 2 years to come back and fight the fucking Zom, and that was over in like Abu Dhabi, wasn't it?
Oh, he smashed him, though. Yeah.
That was over in Abu Dhabi. It was like hardcore smashed him.
Yeah, man. And that's what I mean. Like, these guys that you see, I mean, he's 14-1. Like, what, you're going to look at his one loss to Max Holloway and you're not going to say, oh, that fight got away from him, because that's what happened. The fight just got away from him. Like, Holloway's one of those guys where within 10 minutes he's going to hit you 100 times. You're not even going to know what happened. Like, that's the thing. He gets his jab going, and you don't, and it's just already over.
Is Ortega still with Black House MMA?
Ortega's training on the West Coast. He's got a very diverse camp. He coaches jiu-jitsu out of a Gracie Academy. I'm not sure who he goes to for his striking, but yeah, man, that last fight, I was so impressed with him that you can't bet against that guy.
I like it. He almost looks like fucking AJ Hawk from the Packers back. Remember? Doesn't he kind of look like AJ Hawk a little bit? Like,
he's pretty.
He's got the hair. He looks. He's probably not single. I mean, he's probably taken. or his first love is UFC, and he never gave up. And he's like, I can't talk to women. UFC is my life. Probably not. Tends to be not how males work.
But then we're gonna pick Vicente Luque over Tyron Woodley.
Are we still talking about the upcoming card? God damn.
No, we're not. We're staying with this card.
The next card after the upcoming card. We're like way ahead of ourselves.
That's fine. That's fine. I can't help myself.
We're gonna have to go over all this again on our next fucking podcast.
Yeah, and it's gonna be more in depth, and the fans will love it.
Fine.
But okay, we'll go light. We're picking Vicente Luque over Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley's totally cashed out. He's out of the game. I don't know if it's an age thing.
Luque
other interest thing. But the guy hasn't. He's lost 15 rounds consecutively.
Well, I'm pretty sure that he's just in it at this point to finish up his contract and get out.
Yeah, Luque's not a guy you want to do that. Luque's going to hurt you bad.
Yeah, but, Luque's at a minus 270 on the money line. So I mean, obviously. Mm-hmm. Vegas agrees.
What's the money line on Almeida? Because I like Almeida.
He's at a plus 250.
We're picking Almeida.
That's a good one. O'Malley's at a fucking 310.
No chance. You can't bet on that guy. You can't bet on O'Malley.
That's ridiculous. A minus 310 is ridiculous. That's out of control.
I drank the Sugar Show Kool-Aid too. I liked O'Malley. I thought he was big. I remember thinking like, O'Malley versus Aldo.
Vegas. They should know.
Well, I thought the matchup, if O'Malley beat Cheeto Vera, it would be O'Malley versus Aldo, and they give him the McGregor rub, and then after the Aldo fight, O'Malley fights for the title. And I thought for sure that's what they were going to do. But then O'Malley goes out there and gets murked in a round. Just get slept. And then he's I don't want to get into it because we're athlete positive here.
We are.
But O'Malley talked a heap of trash
to
Cheeto.
A lot
and
of shit.
Cheeto mauled him. And not only mauled him,
He showed up
but
and he was like, "What was that? I couldn't quite hear you over the sound of you being fucking dead." Like, it was... Yeah.
listening to O'Malley groan on the ground, like screaming on the ground.
You don't see that in the UFC, man. No, he was hurt. He was hurt, man. He got carried away. He got carried to his bus.
They stretchered him.
Yeah, that's what he got carried
O'Malley
away.
after that.
Like, that does not happen in the UFC. He got carried the fuck away. That's crazy.
Yeah, and Almeida, a lot of people forget about Almeida because he lost to Cody Garbrandt, and Cody Garbrandt, dude, at that time Cody Garbrandt was a murderer. You couldn't beat him. And Almeida was on fire. He was undefeated, and he just gets bricked. And then he had a few bad losses. He went up to 145. He was way undersized for 145, and this is his first fight back at 35, and he's fighting O'Malley. And the matchmakers don't know what to do. Because you either propel O'Malley to superstardom or you propel Almeida to superstardom and you throw him back into the rankings because Almeida's legit. He's fan friendly. He's got flying knee KOs. He's got one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen against Anthony Burchak, where he just overhands Burchak and Burchak front flips into the ground. But yeah, I mean, and then of course at the top of the card, the UFC's version of Kong vs. Godzilla. We've got Ngannou and Stipe.
Yeah.
And it's either Ngannou by knockout or Stipe via schooling.
It's gonna be Ngannou by knockout, in my opinion. I think
so too.
I think Stipe's gonna open up, and I think Ngannou's gonna fucking send one home right through the center, like we've seen in the past. I think the fighters are watching the same fights we're watching. You know?
Well, it's like, and with no connotations, don't read into this, don't, whatever. But when you fight Ngannou, it's like going into the gorilla pit.
Yeah.
You're not going to survive twice.
No.
Like, look at what he did to Kane. Look at what he did to Jairzinho.
Look
at what he did to Curtis Blades twice.
Curtis Blades
twice.
Two time. Yeah. Out of control.
Alistair Overeem. It is the most devastating knockouts we've ever seen at heavyweight.
He hits with a brick on his hand, dude. It's crazy.
He's so athletic. He's so fast. You got to wonder what kind of roll of quarters he has in that glove of his.
I mean, is he the type of dude that punches chains and shit to get his knuckles all fucked up? Because, like, I've seen people do that when they'll wrap their hands up. Like, former NHL, like, enforcers that would wrap their hands in chains and go beat the fuck out of a brick wall to get their hands desensitized.
Well, it's just the thing about Francis is there was a joke, right, where it was like, oh, it's like a 30-mile-per-hour car crash. We have them tested via sports science. And it's like, yeah, that might be accurate. Like, that might be true. And Stipe pulled one out in that first fight. He got him tired after 2 rounds. He worked the grappling. But, man, there's also a picture of Stipe and Francis laying on the floor in ice after their fights. Where it's like, man, how do you survive that kind of mauling? And then look what happened after that fight. Stipe goes and fights DC and gets knocked out in the first round. So, like, there may have been some lingering effects.
Well, first of all, a lingering effect, meaning a concussion or a CTE, yeah. That motherfucker was knocked dizzy after, like... especially, like, people who've had head injuries know that once you get hit once, every injury after that to your head is easier and easier and easier to get. I've had 5 concussions in my life. And they suck. Every time you get one, they're so much easier to get after that. Like, the first one I got was in, I think it was 8th grade? No. 8th grade? Football or, I don't know, some shit. And, who cares? And,
who can remember these things?
When you get head injuries, who can remember exactly what I don't remember exactly what the first one was, but the second one definitely was from my friend Ian. And we were doing fucking... special teams, and I was returning the football, and right as I caught the football, this dude, I mean, fucking shoulder down into the side of my helmet, like I was fucking, it was unbelievable how hard he hit me, and I was out fucking cold, and like having a low-key seizure on the ground, and by low-key, I mean, it was an actual seizure, it wasn't small, it was like a real seizure on the ground, and I had to go and get my head looked at, and they were like, oh yeah, dude, you got fucked up.
And then after that was my good old friend Trevor hit me really hard in practice. And then that was an accident. We just ran into each other. And after that, they just kept getting easier and easier and easier to get.
Yeah, I mean, it's a scary sport, but God, do we love it.
We love it. We live it. We live it. And you know, here's the deal. If I could go back in time and never play football again, honestly, I would. Personally, I would play something else. But when you're in it and you're like the athlete and you're playing it at the time, and you know it's like, you do. I knew what the consequences could be, but like when you're in it, you don't think about that at the time. You're like, well, you know, I got to win this game and blah, 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 you know, and then you're like 26 and you're like, I can't even remember why I walked into this room. Like, what the fuck? You know? So, yeah, it's interesting.
7 points on the board. And that's what it was worth.
Yeah, well, 6 for me because I wasn't the kicker, so.
No.
You know.
But yeah, man. I mean, we'll have another show.
Let's
probably.
Let's talk. Did you watch the NHL at all?
I did not.
Damn you and your whatever. I just really want to give a congratulations shout out to the Buffalo Sabres. I'm spending all your money on Jack Eichel and having him be a fucking bust. It's everything I've ever dreamed of. I love watching him fail. I love watching him just fall apart because he's not as good. He's just not as good, and he never will be. And it's really funny that they gave him the captainship because they saw McDavid get the captain, and they're like, "Oh, he's gonna be our captain too." And then he became the captain. And where you at? Where you at? Oh, 16 losses this year. 16. Okay, you're 6-16. Your captain has 3 points, and you're at the bottom of the East. Nice. Your guys are doing fantastic. Shout out to you. I love watching them do terribly. It's my favorite thing in the world. Just especially because the fans love the Sabres so much. Buffalo teams love their teams so much, but the players just do not love them at all, man. They get out of there their first opportunity. The second they can get out, they leave.
Oh my god.
Yeah, dude. So, yeah, things that are weird about the NHL this year. Carolina Hurricanes are on the top of the Central. The Islanders are on the top of the East. The Maple Leafs are on the top of the North. And the Knights on the top of the West. What the fuck is going on? What the fuck? I get the Knights. Okay, I'll allow the Knights. The Maple Leafs should not be on top of the North. And the Jets sure as fuck shouldn't be number 2. Like, it's actually pretty cool watching the North because like it's all Canadian teams only. The North is only Canadian teams. It's the Leafs, the Jets, the Oilers, Canadians, Flames, Canucks, Senators. All of them. And like, that is some fucking dope-ass hockey. Those clubs play hard, man. Those clubs play fucking hard. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I knew a thing or two about
that's okay.
hockey.
Yeah, I just love to give a congratulations to the Buffalo Sabres management on fucking up their team again, year after year after year, and still being blind to the fact that Jack Eichel is nothing but a B-star, and he'll be on a second line in 3 years, and then he'll be washed out like Johnny Manziel by the end of the decade. Fucking count me on it. He'll be the Johnny Manziel. He'll be at fucking raves with cocaine in his pocket, looking skinny as a motherfucker in no time with that Jew-fro of his. No time. I say Jew-fro with love.
Timestamp it.
I'm getting canceled on Twitter. I'm getting canceled after that one. I said the R word and Jew-fro in the same fucking podcast today. I'm getting canceled.
Hey, we apologize to iHeartRadio.
They're not mad. I've listened to way worse shit than iHeartRadio. This is probably the cleanest podcast they have. Shout out, podcast, iHeartRadio. We love you. I am really appreciative of them for picking this up. Shout out.
They didn't have to.
Shout
they
out.
didn't have to.
Shout out. Big time. Big time. To give you guys a call and say thank you to you personally. Because I've only been talking to them via email. So I don't actually know who I'm talking to other than Kimberly at iHeartRadio. So Kimberly at iHeartRadio in the acquisitions department. You rock. Otherwise, anything else, man?
No, just maybe a little bit on what we're doing outside of sports this week. We've got the Snyder Cut of the Justice League. We've ranted on that.
We have.
Comes out this week.
We have.
It's 4.5 hours.
4.5.
4.5 hours.
I think it's a little more than 4.5 too. I think it's like 4:40 or something. I think it's a little longer. I think it's pretty long. Like it's.
So
they took Lord of the Rings and they were like double it.
yeah, so we'll be back with a review on that. WandaVision on Disney Plus
It's good.
finished up last week,
It's
and we've
good.
got Falcon and the Winter Soldier this week.
It's good.
So that should be a little bit more action oriented, a little more
Good
machismo.
show. It's a good show. It's a good show, man.
And then finally, next at the end of the month, we said Francis versus Stipe was Kong versus Godzilla, but
Yep.
the theatric Kong versus Godzilla is at the end of the month. And
Yep.
a little spoiler alert, let me tell you who wins.
Who is it? Who wins?
Kong becomes king somehow.
What?
King Kong. He's Kong right now. He's got to become king.
Don't you do that to me, Paul! You just
Kong.
wrecked my brain.
Kong takes him out.
Oh
The last
my God.
movie was Godzilla,
Oh.
King of the Monsters.
You're
Kong
so
is
right.
now
You're
the king.
so right. Oh
Kong becomes king.
my God! You blew my mind, actually.
That's it. That's why we're here. Put the parlay. Do we have Bovada odds on Kong versus Godzilla?
Dude,
Can we get those odds?
I have to sit. I'm gonna think about this. I'm like, how have I never seen this before? What the hell? That's like not recognizing that the Power Rangers got power from somewhere. Like, oh, they're the power. Okay, that's weird. Like, damn, dude, shit. Oh,
That's it.
you're right, but it's still gonna be good watching him just fucking.
Oh, it's gonna be
backhand
sweet.
the motherfucker. Just CGI, like that.
I was watching the trailer where they're doing like this, they got Kong on the aircraft carrier and Godzilla swimming underwater. Hype
Dude,
is the only word to describe
I
it.
gotta tell you this hilarious story. So I'm at the movie theater with some of my comedian friends the other day, and that preview comes on, the Kong versus whatever, and my dude is next to me is absolutely edibled out of his mind. Like, he's like 1,000 milligrams deep. And by the way, 10 milligrams is a serving. And my boy ate like 1,000, which is like 10 bags of gummies. And so he's in the chair just like literally like like one of those people you see outside on heroin just walking around all sleepy, like kind of look like that in the chair.
Doing Tai Chi in the park.
And the commercial comes out and it's loud and so it's like all the sounds or whatever. He wakes up and he's like watching it and he like looks over at me. He's like, "That shit really happened?" I'm like, "No, it didn't really happen." No, it didn't happen.
Yeah,
Just so high.
it's like the Paranormal Activity movies based on a real story.
I think he's watching the fucking documentary or some shit. That really
my
happened,
God.
dude. What?
Yeah, David Attenborough is narrating.
They've got Morgan Freeman as God coming in like I cannot believe I heard that comment. It's so good.
Oh my gosh.
I gotta tell that tonight.
Oh,
I'm gonna tell it
man.
tonight on stage, actually. I haven't told that joke yet. I should tell that.
There it is.
Also, did I tell you about when I walked into an orgy? Did
No.
I tell you?
No.
Okay. My friend Norby's in town, right? And everyone who listens to my other podcast know who Norby is at this point. But he's in town. And he texts me, he's like, "Dude, we're at the Cosmo, room 5302, get here." I'm like, "All right." So I go pick up Daniela, and we're going over to going to 5302 at the Cosmo, which is like the tallest casino here in town. And that's like one of the top rooms. So like I'm terrified of heights, but we're going all the way up. Now, we get to room 5302, and he tells us to ring the doorbell, but the door has like that thing with the hotel where it like, like in the hotel, how it has the arm bar lock, and it goes in between the door and the whatever, so it can stay cracked.
Yeah.
So they have that in there. So I'm like, oh, they must have just wanted us to come in because like it's cracked or whatever. Open the door like it's a party. There's glitter and there's like those streamers coming down the front of me. So I part the streamers and I'm walking in and I'm like, "Norby, what up?" Like just being all cool. He's not in the fucking room. And it's all people I have never seen in my life. It's 10 dudes in tight leather and one short chick in super tight leather and a fuckload of blow-up dolls in multiple positions all around this room. Whole time I check my phone again. I'm like, "This is room 5302, isn't it?" And she's like, "Yeah, but you're not supposed to be in here." And we're like, no, it says right here 5302. I'm Norby, hey Norby, and I'm like yelling in the room. I'm like going on the balcony. I'm fully in their room, going out looking for someone who is not in this fucking room. So these people walk me out. They're like, "There's the door." So they push us out. Daniela calls her a bitch on the way out, like she thought it was under her breath, but it was pretty audible and she heard it.
Oh my
and
God.
so she shut the door all the way and locked it this time so we couldn't get back in.
And I call him. I'm like, dude, we're in 5302. Can you come out and like tell your friends to settle the fuck down? And he was like, dude, I'm in the room. What are you talking about? And then he's like, we're in 5302, right? Like to all his friends, and they're like, no, 5202. So I'm like, oh, you motherfucker! I was in someone else's room, mid-orgy. They had the leather on. The blow-up dolls were tight. People were in position, Paul. And I'm just in the room like, what's up? Like thinking I'm supposed to be here. And I'm arguing with them that I'm supposed to be here the whole time.
Hey.
I wanted to jump off the balcony right there. Just fucking...
Oh my god.
One of the more embarrassing moments of my entire life, but it was really funny.
5202.
5202. I will never forget the room 5302 in my life. If I ever stay at that room, I'm going to stay in the 5302. If you ever go, and everyone should just start asking for room 5302. That's going to be that's going to be like my code word for like my secret layer someday too. Everyone's going to be like, what's the code? And I'm going to be like, 6302. 5302. And I'm going to be like, you're in.
You're in.
Except for I just told the whole world what my secret code is, so it's not really good anymore. Yeah, so that happened to me at the Cosmo. That's that story.
But yeah, and I think we can end on that.
Okay, yeah, we'll end on the old walking in on an orgy.
Oh no, we can't end. We can't end.
Tell
this
me.
Just in.
What?
On the Twitter.
What?
Dana White.
What?
Dana White, April 24th, Jacksonville, Florida, full crowd.
Oh, Jacksonville, Florida, get your fucking hype pants on. It's time.
Wild
Get
boys.
your hype pants pulled up. Get those jeans up tight, boys. It's fucking time. April 14th?
Going back.
April 14th? Man, that's only 3 days before my pay-per-view event. I might go.
Jacksonville, Florida.
You want to go to Jacksonville?
No.
Fuck, Paul. Stop having a job and start being a comedian so you can just do things whenever you want.
Dude, I'm fully vaccinated and I don't trust these people.
I'm vaccinated, so what?
Yeah.
I was in Nashville.
Wild.
I was in Nashville and I was totally fine. No masks in
Respect
Nashville.
to Dana for doing it, but man, that's gonna rock ESPN.
It's gonna be beautiful. Disney's gonna come out as pissed off against it too. All the Disney
they're gonna
execs.
pretend, and then they're just gonna backstroke in the pool of money.
Yep.
They're like, oh, what's this? What's this, Dana?
Meanwhile, we're all gonna act like they aren't
here?
exploiting children and labor in China and shooting the Mulan movie in front of a Uyghur death camp. We're all just gonna ignore that. Disney.
No, we got full crowds in Jacksonville now.
Yeah, we have to pretend to be upset about this so everyone looks like we aren't accepting the money
swimming
happily.
We
are going to reluctantly accept your $45 million. When we accepted your $100 million, we really were like, damn, this is not good. But at the end of the day, we're going to do what we have to do.
Man, wow. That's how we end the podcast.
All right, everyone.
That's
This has been Jake and Paul with Better Life. We will see y'all later. Peace out.
Peace.